Welcome to the 1958 Lawyer, the show for attorneys who know the old model isn't working anymore. The billable hour, the 12-hour day, the expensive office no one visits. Your hosts, Ron and Rebecca Boxstaller, are here to question all of that and more by exploring smarter, healthier, more flexible ways to run a law firm. No more burnout, no more outdated expectations, just real conversations with attorneys who are proving there's a better way. If you're ready to build a law firm that's profitable and livable, you're in the right place. Now here are your hosts, Ron and Rebecca.
Welcome to the 1958 Lawyer, the podcast about the business of law. I'm your host, Ron Boxstaller, joined by my co-host, RB. 3 years ago, two New York lawyers were sanctioned for filing a brief full of cases that ChatGPT simply made up. Since then, courts across the country have kept handing out sanctions. One recent penalty topped $100,000. Every solo attorney is being told AI will save them hours, but almost nobody is handing the guardrails. And here in Illinois, the Supreme Court and the ARDC now have AI guidance you're expected to know. Our guest today, Justin True, an AI and marketing leader at JDT Advisors who spent years deploying AI inside growing businesses and who now helps lawyers do the same thing, ethically and without putting their license at risk. Justin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Ron.
Good to have you. I'm kind of excited about this. It's a fun topic.
It is a fun topic.
Tell us how you got started, because you started a marketing company
Mm-hmm.
and then you've transitioned into AI.
How do you become an expert at something that's only been around for 3 years? It actually started when I was 10. I learned how to code HTML kind of in a coincidental way. And that really pushed me into technology at an early age. I was into Photoshop at like 13, 14, downloaded illegally off of Napster. I was in marketing and technology before I knew marketing and technology was a field. Inevitably, I went the marketing route, but always been surrounded by technology my entire professional career. I was one of the first million users of ChatGPT when it came out in 2022.
Wow.
And was just instantly obsessed and immersed. And over the first year or two, that was right when I started my fractional marketing business. And I was able to put off hiring a team of support staff because I was becoming this Superman overnight. I mean, there was 22, 20, 23, I was starting to finish my work that I had deliverables to clients, and I would just like put it on the side and set a timer for 3 days. Because I didn't want them to know,
Right.
what my superpower was. And then I started to just get so deep in it, and I had to actually start like refraining myself from using the tools so much because I had a job to do, and it wasn't AI. It wasn't to dig deeper. It wasn't to learn. I had a career, a business to keep up. And about a year ago, really just happened chance, I started to get pulled into AI directions with clients and with some communities I'm involved with. And I saw an opportunity to take a hobby and turn it into a full-time job. And it was a bet. It was a risk. It was a gamble, but it went. It was a full house.
You chose law firms because you work with other firms, but you kind of really have a real niche within the legal industry. And there's a fine line between saving time using AI and getting sanctioned. So kind of walk us through what you're doing and how you're helping these attorneys.
Totally. Well, I chose law because a lot of my community was lawyers I had experience with on the marketing side, but also I saw the legal sector as the most data sensitive and secure collection of people in an industry. And I thought if we could crack this, then it would make working with everything else a lot easier. Now, to that point of saving time, saving money, all that stuff, like AI is so vast and so big, I really try to get people to not start with the sensitive, complex, ultra secure data. And if you jump the gun there, you're now starting at level 10.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a lot of levels before that you got to earn your keep and work through to know how to do that.
So then, and we're going to talk more about those things, but maybe we can bring it back to how it all began.
Mm-hmm.
Mata versus Avianca with law firms, 2 attorneys, 1 brief written by ChatGPT, and attorneys got sanctioned.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk us through kind of what happened there, or what you might know about that? And then why is that something that is still 3 years later talked
Totally.
about and brought up?
Totally. Yeah, high level. It was I need similar cases to have evidence to support this charge or this direction, and ChatGPT hallucinated. It made up the answer, and this is in the early days,
Right.
I believe that. You remember the McDonald's coffee cup situation?
Yes.
Oh, this one got burnt?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, we're both like,
And it
yeah.
wasn't even that hot, and it got heard by everybody, and it really made the image, heard around the world. And I just see that that's the same thing here. I don't think a lot of people, especially in the legal space, even knew what hallucination was until that happened. I mean, if you go look up something in a book, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, you're doing a report, you're probably going to cite your source. And I think in that situation, the attorney didn't go and do the homework that they're supposed to do. And, would that have happened anyways? Absolutely. Would we all know what the word hallucination means today? We still would. It's just, that was the one, the shot heard around the world. And I think it scared a lot of people. It scared a lot of attorneys. It gave a lot of attorneys an excuse to not use the tools. And, I think it was towards the end of last year was when I started to see all of the mega firms around the world publicly announce that they were using Harvey, Legora, or even some of the general tools. And it was overnight I started to see attorneys all over the place just put their heads down, because the same 14 reasons why they weren't using AI were no longer a reason that they couldn't use AI.
Well, you go back to that case. It's interesting. The judge didn't sanction the attorneys for using AI. He sanctioned them for not verifying the material in the brief.
Which they would have had to do.
Well, I mean, that's the same as if you had a paralegal writing the brief and you didn't go review the work.
Right, because I think they reviewed it by asking ChatGPT if it was correct. And ChatGPT said, of course I am.
I think they doubled down, because when the judge and the opposing counsel said, we can't find these, produce them, they went back to ChatGPT. Chat, kept lying. They kept hallucinating and saying, well, here this is, and more hallucinating. So they doubled down on their mistake and then didn't go verify it. And that's what they got sanctioned for.
Totally.
So now, do you go against, the ABA has basically said you can use ChatGPT. So is this a big part of your conversations with your clients?
Yeah, I think it was. I think you realize a lawyer, a law firm, they learn that there's now rules to the game, and they learn them, and they kind of keep them at the forefront and know that they update. Letting the world know that there's now rules was kind of a one-time thing. Now everybody knows. Now everybody tries to keep up and keep track and keep score. And every state has slight variations and differences. And so if you're working across states, then you got to be aware of, just like all the other rest of the rules.
I just think, I think we read that Kirkland-level invests $500 million
Yes,
in
they
AI.
did.
Is that a wake-up call to say, I got to start using this if I'm going to compete with the biggest firms? If the biggest firm just invest $500 million, they must be they're going to use it.
Yeah, that was there's a very, very, very big, bold, strategic bet that they placed. Their real rationale and reason was they were spending a ton of money on Harvey and Legora and all these other tools. That those tools were I don't want to get confused with training the models, but those tools were learning how to operate in the legal space, very specific, off of one of the largest law firms. And Kirkland saw that was, this is our information, so let's just build our own.
Right.
I think that price tag, nobody can afford that. Mm-hmm. Not many. Right? So they're really placing a long game bet. And honestly, I think you're going to start seeing that across lots of industries. You already are seeing that.
Yeah.
Even in smaller spaces, just with the cost of these tools rising, we are entering a world where build is becoming cheaper than buy, which was not accurate, was not true even a year ago.
You and I have talked a lot about AI, but I want you to walk me through when you're talking about they're going to go build their own environment, their own sandbox. They're building it within ChatGPT or Claude or within some existing platform? Yes or no?
No.
Okay.
No, they're doing big boy stuff. They've got massive teams, massive scalability, massive technological understanding to build their own environment and pull the tools that they need inside of it. Meaning they can pull a ChatGPT, they can pull a Claude, they can, there's hundreds of models out there.
Right.
The average person can name like three.
Right.
Maybe. So building a secure environment in a place where you can bring everything inside allows you to build your own building, and you can put whatever you want inside of it. What we're moving towards is the ability for that to become attainable to smaller firms, and you can do it without having to go that full route of having your own massive teams. You are going to get it at a smaller scale, but ultimately, we are all moving towards a place where you have a closed container where your information, your data gets stored, models get processed in your little lone lockbox, so that you can confidently say to a judge or a client that where this is being processed and how and by what tool. This is going to become normal in the next year.
So this moves me to, I'm kind of moving ahead, sorry, RB, but I want to know about security, talking about if I'm building my own model, how smart's my model? Where's it getting its knowledge from?
You're not going to build your own model.
Okay.
You're gonna build your own black box that you're gonna pull a model inside of.
Okay.
So that information can't leave that room. Building your own model is what Kirkland-level are doing. It's extremely expensive and extremely technical to really build your own model. What I'm referencing is bringing existing models, whether they're the top tier ones that you have heard of, whether they're the very competitive ones that you haven't heard of, that are cheaper or more expensive, and bringing them into your closed container so that you can run cutting edge technology on your own data.
Are you helping these firms create their black box?
Help them navigate. Okay. I don't build. I have team and resources that do build, that I work with when it gets to that level. But frankly, even your firms up to 100 people don't necessarily need to build really crazy, intense things, because it's all about starting at an appropriate level. Like you got to start at step one.
You have to start using it.
You have to start using the tools that are out of the box capable of, and safe to use for safe and logical things. Don't put PII into public tools. But can you write a blog with it? Sure.
So then, if we bring this back to everyday use for small or solo firms right now in Illinois, the Supreme Court put out a policy, the Illinois Supreme Court, and then the ARDC put out a guide of how to use AI, which I think is sort of ahead of what some states are doing, I believe. Anyway, so based on those two documents, if you're an attorney right now using AI, what do you need to make sure you're following and doing to be using it correctly?
I actually don't know the 1, 2, 3s to that answer.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I think the place to start, though, is with non-legal private information.
Yeah.
Start to get to know the tools and how to put public information in, how to ask questions, how to learn to put information in and get information out, and discover how to change the shape of that information along its journey. Because you can have a super black box safe, but if you don't know how to use it, then why'd you pay all that money? And so go play in the playground and let's climb the monkey bars. And then when you can make the whole stretch, then let's talk about starting to bring client data. And it all depends on what type of law too, because there's all sorts of different tools that you can just get that are legal specific focused out of the box that can solve specific needs.
Do you just spend your days watching people's minds go
Yeah.
just blown constantly?
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's I like to interact with people.
It's a good thing.
And so it kind of keeps me going. Yeah.
Bring us back to the basics. If we're going to get started, I'm a solo practitioner. I'm thinking, AI's powerful. I want to use it. What are maybe 1 or 2 things I should start using it with to get used to it?
Totally. Two. On the non-legal side of the house, think about, do I need to write blog content? Do I want to update the content on my website? Do I want to make posts on social media? Can these tools help me figure out a narrative? I want to do a short video clip, 30-second video clip. What is this topic going to be about? The tool, then you tell the tool, ask me about myself and my type of law, so that the tool will then interview you and help you navigate what could be a good 30-second script for a video. Oh. Obviously, that video is going to be public, and so we're, it's okay to talk to AI about something like that. So start by thinking about all of the non legal aspects of your small law firm, small business, because that's where you get to play. And it's okay if you fall and scrape your knee. Just get back up.
Right.
Nobody's going to see. Once you are starting to get comfortable with the tools, start to think about the parts of your legal practice that you're going to be doing public research anyways without using your client's data. Hey, what are the statutes on this law, this state? Can you find me the most recent regulations on this type of topic and this type of industry? Start using the tool as your research powerhouse assistant for public information, and it's just taking you to the next level of how to interact with these tools. And when you're ready, when you say to yourself enough times, it'd be really helpful if I could put my client data in here. Like I could really take this to the next level. That's when we introduce you to some of these off-the-shelf tools that are black box that will just take you to that next step of same research, same methodology, but I'm now able to pair it with some sensitive data.
So can you kind of maybe bring me into like this whole black box situation? Is it a setting that people need to know? Is it a development that they're hiring someone to do for them? How does the black box part happen?
Different levels,
Okay.
as you would probably assume. I hear a lot of like, don't train the model with your data. You've heard that?
Yeah.
That's just one of like 5 layers. Yes, you don't want the models to be learning from your information, but your information, you can turn that setting off and I'll continue answering your question.
Yeah.
But you can turn that setting off. It's the basic setting of don't train the new model on my data.
Okay.
But your data, by being put into the tool, your data, your file is now sitting on the servers of other companies. So it's not just about not training the model. It's about not letting your data sit on
Right.
a major corporation server that you don't know about, which is when we start to get into data retention standards and how long can a company hold on to that file. It's not until you start to upgrade to the enterprise, the much more expensive versions of these, where you can start to control how long they have your data. And it's when you get to theirs when it's okay to start to use these big boy tools with these big boy price tags. But to answer your question, a black box, though, is a little bit more expensive than what you're going to pay $20 a month for. You're going to pay a couple of $100 a month for, but you can have an off-the-shelf box that requires 0 setup on your end.
Okay.
You get a new login into a very secure container, and you get to use the same tools that you hear of and that we all talk about, but they're in a different container that's safe. And it's the shortcut to having law firms start to use their sensitive data without having to go the Kirkland-level route.
Right.
Let's step back maybe one step because I want to let's be basic. What you were referring to earlier was prompts. How do you write effective prompts? How do you interview me, right? I mean, you can go to your AI bot and say, act as my controller, act as my CFO.
Yeah.
Let's talk about basics of writing script.
So right around the time that, hallucinations came out, that word came out, as did prompt engineering. Probably have heard that, the art of writing a good prompt. And it was a buzzword for a couple of years until it wasn't a thing anymore. You don't have to be good at writing a prompt. When I work with people, I refuse to give them booklets and packets and lists of prompts because it's counterintuitive, because how you need to interact with the tool, even if we might need the same thing, is going to be different how I interact with the tool. What you need to be good at, instead of trying to convince yourself to get better at writing a prompts, you need to convince yourself to be better at communicating. If you have an intern, a brand new intern shows up today, you have no idea their skill level, what they're capable of, what their history is. Are you going to say, go write this report for me? And then you're going to expect genius to come back? Or are you going to be very detailed? Are you going to type a long requirements document to him? And are you going to judge yourself on how you're writing that? No, you're probably just going to go up to him. And I'm saying this because my first number one tip is to turn the microphone on and just start talking to the computer. We all sit in front of Zooms all day long talking at a computer. Right. Get used to it. When you open up a tool, turn the microphone on and just start talking as you would to this intern that showed up today. Hey, I need you to work on this project, and here's what I want you to accomplish. But before you get started, ask me 5 questions so that you can understand the context and I can understand that you know your job. We're not crafting prompts, we're communicating.
Right.
I've never used my microphone with these tools before.
Will change your life. Head explode.
Exactly. I'm like speechless, really bad during a podcast.
Let's go back to you mentioned blogs, and I still talk to a lot of attorneys like, well, it's not coming from me. And it's a conversation that it is coming from you if you're the ones interacting with the AI. The AI is assisting you in doing the research to create that blog. Can you talk about, because you started this many, many years ago, you did it when you were young, you set it aside. It's an effective way to get good information out there, and you're getting the credibility for it. Like if it's on your website, you're getting your authority score is going higher. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Totally. Assuming that these tools are just writing your blog is jumping the gun. It's assuming that nobody's putting any other work or thought into it, that you're just saying, make me a blog. And we just talked about this intern, right? If you were having an intern write a blog, you'd probably give them a little bit of direction on it. They'd probably write you a draft. You'd probably tear it to shreds, and you'd keep going round and round. Well, with these tools, you can just expedite that.
Right.
All the time. I listen to podcasts all the time on all sorts of topics, mostly AI. And when I hear a topic that I like, that I resonate with, I'll go grab that transcript of that 5 minutes or 2 minutes or whatever. I'll drop it into my tool and I'll say, hey, ask me 5 questions to get my opinion on this. And guess what? I'll turn the microphone on and I'll just talk myself through all of these answers. And so I'm now getting all of my, I guess it's rich thought into the tool. And then I'm having the tool organize it and massage it and smooth it and get rid of all the ums and the this and the that's and the trails that I go on. And that's my blog article.
Still you.
Right.
I just didn't write it because I don't do that.
I don't have to.
I don't have to. I also don't spell well. I'll spend more time trying to see through all the red lines than getting my actual thought out.
When pandemic hit, we all jumped on Zoom. We all started having these remote meetings, and I became smarter. And it wasn't that anything's really changed, except when I was talking to you, I'm sitting at a computer, I can look things up. And when my memory, which isn't very good, especially for short-term things, and I'm like, I know what it is, but if I'm on my computer, boom, I could pop that up and I'm having a conversation and you didn't even know I just did that. But now my memory was so much better. Of course, you meet me in person, you're like, why can't that guy remember shit? Like, who is that, the same guy? But it's kind of the same thing now I sit and write a blog and it could take me 2 hours because it gets me asking questions and thinking. Mm-hmm. So the research behind it, in my opinion, is way better than if I was just sitting hand writing something off my memory.
Totally. They really get to be an extension of your brain.
Absolutely.
Access to basically all public information. And if you know how to tap into that, the world is limitless.
And I think that's what people got to realize is when you're writing, you're also writing and doing the research and incorporating that into your article while you're doing it. Mm-hmm. But it still takes me a couple hours to put something quality together.
Absolutely.
And far deeper I get into it, longer it takes me.
The quality of my output, of what my written report outputs that I do for clients, well, they tell me it's nice. They tell me it's awesome. I know that I would not have gone to these depths and of that quality 4 years ago.
Right.
I'm doing things that I never would have done or could have done. Mm-hmm. And at a holistic macro level, I love this concept. This is not just about law. This is about everything. This is about the world. There's 2 types of AI. There's efficiency AI, which is where you're doing the same with less. And then there's opportunity AI, where you're doing more with the same. And more meaning things you never did before, either because you wouldn't have or you couldn't have. And when everybody starts tapping into opportunity AI, you start to have a world full of stuff that didn't exist 5 years ago. And that existed both at the micro and the macro level. So it's my biggest goal is to help people and their businesses along this journey, because there's a lot of opportunity out there to do some really cool things.
I think it's going to create work. I'm on that side where it's going to create more opportunities for people as they're going along, because what you just said is the opportunity AI allows you to do so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So
our everybody's job is made up of a number of tasks. Usually there's a lot of tasks wrapped up in one job. Is AI taking jobs? Not really. It's taking tasks.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And when you can take one task away from one job out of when that job is made up of dozens or hundreds of tasks, you're creating room now for other tasks to take up more meaningful time. Or you're taking a lot of tasks, and what do you think a person's just going to lose like a quarter of their job? No, they're going to figure out something to do with it.
right.
Mm-hmm. I guess it just goes back to what we always say: if you have to learn and adapt to the tools, because it's not that the job gets taken; it's that you maybe get left behind.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Did computers really wipe out anything? No.
They sped it up.
Did autopilot get rid of pilots? No, it
Good
made
Wait.
a surge of pilots.
Let me add to that one. We sailed our boat over to St. Joe's this past weekend, and autopilot wasn't working. We had to get it replaced. 8 hours, maybe 8 hours on the boat sailing there. We had to stand at the helm the whole time and hold the wheel, right?
Hard work.
Man, what? Where's autopilot? It's not working. You realize how much you missed it.
Mhm.
I mean, I still got there, but
And you still had to get licensed and have the authority to know how to drive
know how
that
to drive
boat.
the boat. Exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah, because humans are. You got to fast forward a long time for when humans aren't at the helm of life.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, let's bring this back a little to attorneys. I want to go back to, is there a red light, green light? If we're talking to a solo or a small firm attorneys, because that's who you meet with a lot, here's the things I want you to start doing. Here's things you got to stay away from, at least in the beginning.
Well, green light is non-customer data, back of the house business operations, your marketing, some of your finance and accounting, anything else that just isn't client data. Just start there. Red light is client data.
Right.
Don't even use your mind space thinking, how do I use my client data with AI? You'll get there. Yellow light is research, is publicly available information and research. Start trying to supplement what you would have done anyways.
I think when you're asking your AI bot to go do some research, you can ask your AI bot to give me the proof sources also.
Typically does automatically at this
At
point.
this point.
What you can do, take it a step further, is remember, it's your intern. Hey, I need you to go research X topic in X state, and I need X laws. I need that in this specific type of format. When you cite the references, I need the links, I need the page, I need think of the biography or bibliography citing reference structure from middle school, right? I want it in this exact structure, or else you're going to get an F. Like, whatever you want, ask the tool for,
Right.
because the tool knows everything except for what you know. And so if you want it to come in a certain format, just say it.
I love it.
Interesting. Well, if we were to take your CMO experience as well as your AI knowledge, and just go to like the very basics of people trying to market themselves, and at a point where answers pop up before a website ever would. Like, how does a firm get noticed in a web search?
Yeah, that's actually it's ironic. I come from marketing. I don't really do too much marketing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
My time is consumed in this AI world, and I need to find the answer to that question because I get asked it all the time. But my focus with AI is not on like ranking inside of AI.
Yeah.
It's more of a culture and a company and an infrastructure and a mindset and a operations structure, which I try to focus on more things that are like going to have measurable results inside the business.
Yeah.
Just because there's infinite topics in AI.
Well, that's the thing. You
can't
can't be
focus
an
on all
expert
of
on
them.
everything, right? have to find your one thing to master.
Yeah,
So that makes sense.
Obviously, there's so much to cover on the show. We need to have you back on the show. It's been there's so many things to talk about. I want to hit, there's like a couple things before we end. Talk to the audience about writing in their voice and what they need to do to allow their bot to do that.
Great question. So back to our intern. Hey, intern, I need you to figure out how I write. What is my writing style? For starters, ask me a couple of questions, right? That I might not think to tell you the answer to unless you asked me, to kind of get a gauge of personality. And once it does that, say, okay, now I'm going to give you some samples of my writing. You can go pull emails, you can go pull poems, short stories, deposition papers, whatever samples you want the tool to analyze to be representative of your writing style. And ask it to build you a writing style sample pack and a guide. Now here's your blueprint, like genetic structure. And these come in the form. This is like 102 stuff. This is using what we call markdown files. Markdown files are just sets of instructions that call the shots, put the guardrails on, and you can have the tools make these markdown files. Everything I just said is that. Hey, interview me. Let's make my writing style guide. Here's some writing samples. Make the writing style markdown file. It'll spit you back a 127-page document that is the genetic code of how you write. Top of there sits instructions. It says every time I ask you to rewrite something in my tone and my style, reference this file.
Boom.
And in the top of that file says, always make jokes. What's going to happen? It's just going to constantly say jokes. And then when you change it to say never make a joke, it's never going to make a joke ever again.
I love it. All right. Well, this is, we're going to have to wrap up the show. I want you to give the audience, here is why you want to call you. And then how do we reach you? We're going to put it in the show notes, but I'll let you talk about it. Give you 2 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I help law firms, businesses figure out who in their company is ready and how much. I help them figure out what AI can do inside of the business and who should be touching it and how. And then the biggest one is how to do it safely and with what tools. This process takes 4 to 8 weeks, depending on the size of the firm. We go inside the firm, we figure out how it operates, because even 2 identical firms do 2 identical things will operate inside differently. Different people, different standard operating procedures. And it takes knowing how information move and people work together to really write the plan. So I help businesses and law firms navigate this world through a 4 to 8 week process. And I also have a monthly show I host, an hour-long Zoom that's an open community session where I really just dive into some of these specific how-tos so that people can get their paws wet and actually touch the tools and feel confident about what they're doing.
I love that it's 4 to 8 weeks, because that's something that people can easily see instead of thinking it's a 2-year process.
Oh, it's
amazing.
It's a 4 to 8 week discovery process to really build the game plan for the next 6 to 12 months. At that point, the full document it's a playbook. We hand it over with the idea, and this is all discussed on the front end. The idea is that we're going to walk you through this world.
Right.
But if for any reason that changes, this document is it's your go. It's your plan. It's the same plan we're going to follow. So it's built very, very detailed, very meticulous.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining the show. Dustin's been great having you on. Obviously got all these questions. We got a lot more questions, so we'll have to get back to those questions. And so we'll have to have you back on real soon.
Sounds good.
All right. That's all for today. A big thank you to Justin True, for joining us today and for turning AI from a source of anxiety into setting the guardrails for solos who actually didn't know or don't know how to use it. His information will be in the show notes. Please reach out to him. If today's conversation got you thinking about how AI fits into your practice, I hope you'll take just one idea, from Justin, and put it to work for you. Fuck, man, I got to get better at this shit.
You will.
All right.
Or we just got to do it in the evening.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave us a review, share it with a colleague who could use the information. I got to pause because my teleprompter is going a little slower than I would like it to. The 1958 Lawyer is brought to you by Amada. For more than 30 years, Amada has helped. Now it's going way too fast. Has helped firms of all sizes do more with less, build on our 5 pillars: fractional support staff, virtual office options, office space, legal community, and the marketing support. Whether you're a solo practitioner just starting out or an established firm looking to right-size your overhead, Amada gives you the infrastructure of a big firm without the big firm price tag. Learn more at amadacorp.com. Until next time, work on your firm, not just in it.
Thanks for listening to the 1958 Lawyer. If you like the show, tell a friend, and please subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to hear more about Ron, Rebecca, or Amada, go to amataoffices.com. That's amataoffices.com. All the links are also in the show notes.